cracked it. I think I got it. I think I've got this down. I forgot to take a photo of it. But 30, what did I do? 34 minutes today. 30 freaking 4 minutes. That's a hell of a lot more than I normally do, and I've discovered how, and I'll tell you later. This is my Burn and Learn. This is my bid to stay alive and fit long enough to enjoy my golden years with the brilliant, beautiful wife of mine that is Jane, and my fabulous son Sebastian, and potentially this wretched dog Huzzah. I hate exercise, so I just like to learn something while I'm doing it, and I think I've cracked it this time, because as much as I think it's torture, as much as I hate it, I think I may have found a little trick here. Caliber Pictures, hello to you. Aaron, hello to you. Paranoid Badger, wonderful name. The Blurty Dad, of course, fantastic. Matthew Miller, LOL. The coffee better have some whiskey. God, I wish. Jonathan Leeton Hoggett, afternoon to you. I done it. I think I cracked it. Now, casually, Sandra, hello. Enough of the hello. Oh, Jesus, I've just poured my coffee all over my desktop. Never mind. Okay. It's a garage. It's meant to be messy. The rodents will love the extra caffeine, I'm sure. Good afternoon to you, Laura Richards, and good morning to casually Sandra and Matt W. Hey! Luxembourg, Dana. Welcome. Okay, so this is kind of an epiphany. I realize I've kind of had this before, but I'm going to have it again for you here because I've just realized it. I've been listening to audiobooks while I exercise. The idea being to learn something while I'm doing it. There's some biology stuff. It's been great. Love it. I've definitely been dragging my butt. And this week I wanted to sort of jump back into some filmmaking stuff because there's some chatter about that right now, about some stuff. And I wanted to sort of explore some of the newer tools and stuff. And one of the ones that I'm very interested in is Unreal. So I put my Unreal hat on today, literally put on my Unreal hat. And I've been tucking into these tutorials, and I was doing it last night. And so this morning I came down and eventually talked myself onto the torture device. Man, I was trying to put it off. I took a day off. It's difficult. I took a day off yesterday because I was exhausted. I've been organizing in here, which has just been a nightmare. So Jane's mission, should I choose to accept it, and I'm afraid I, for God's sake, I think I'm back. We're going to learn something while you burn calories. Exactly. You got to learn something. That's the whole key. Am I still live now? Am I still going? Someone throw a chat in there, would you? Wormhole 42. Good morning to you. Tina. Good morning to you. Mandy. Good morning to you. There you go. Still there. Okay, great. So I can't move because if I move, I lose the Wi-Fi signal. Thus is the nature of my life in this little garage lair that I have around me. So this is what I've discovered. I went onto the torture device today and I thought, you know what, I haven't quite finished this tutorial I've been working on, this Unreal Engine tutorial. One of the things I like to do to learn something is find the most basic course. Like, it's basically nothing. It's literally whatever you're trying to learn for dummies. And I'm a fan of I was a huge fan of lynda.com. It got bought by Microsoft and then became part of LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn Learning, I just sat down and started going through the Unreal Engine 5 LinkedIn Learning tutorial, and it's great. It's fantastic. I mean, it's no bells or whistles. It's not exactly creating anything that you go ooh ah, but it is a great basics that I feel like by the time I finished it, I at least have an innate understanding. An innate? No, I have a learnt understanding of how the application works. Well, I did my elliptical torture device, hidden back there, while I was doing the tutorial. And I used to do this, I remember this now, years and years ago when I first started, I used to do tutorials. And then when I recently got back into the Burn&Learns, I've been doing these audible books. Well, forget that. I am going full tutorial because I was 18 minutes into my Burn&Learn before I even noticed that I should be changing direction. Because I'd go backwards for, usually 15 minutes at resistance of 4, and then I go 15 minutes forward. Well, guess what? I do 18 minutes backwards without even notice. Well, I noticed I was dying. That's why I stopped to see what I was doing. But 18 minutes. But it took me 18 minutes of tutorials before I realized I was miserable. So then I turn around and I go the other way and make myself miserable for a little longer. That gets miserable much faster because I've already been going for a while. But I did 34 minutes today. Almost 35, but 30, I'm going to count 34 because I spent a lot of it going like, oh my God, I can't believe I've done so much. Well, I'm sort of just letting the machine do it for me. So yeah, that is the trick, without a doubt. Is I think from a nerd perspective, from a Canardian perspective, the burn and learn thing works for me best when I've got both that audible and visible distraction going on, and I'm being forced to use my brain in a way that the burn and learn is perfect for, because you can hyper focus on this stuff. You got nowhere else to look, so you're just learn. It's great. It's fantastic. So I'm really excited about that. I think this is going to up my torture time. It's also going to up my learning, and I'm very excited about it. So I was having a miserable morning, and I had to drag my back bacon butt into this lair and start doing my exercise. I've got this. I have one other confession to make. The garage is driving me crazy. It's like, I don't want to say anything to the ladies because the ladies have the basement, and that's great. I feel no resentment towards them in any way. They have the basement. I'm thrilled that they can use it, and I love that more and more they're joining us in our living room and watching TV with us and stuff. They're going to come back this week. I love that our roommates, who are here so they can go to University of Toronto and be more brilliant than I'll ever be. I love that we can provide them with a place to live, and I love having them around. And I love that even though they're up in Hamilton for the summer working and stuff, they as a holiday, they come back to their house here, our house, and they come and watch horror movies with us and watch sports and have cozy brekkies and stuff like that. And I absolutely love that. So I want to be very, very clear that I'm not resenting them for taking my basement lair. What I am resenting is this freaking garage, because everything is going wrong. It's driving me nuts. We had guys around to do the gutter the other day. You know that because I was doing a burn and learn when they showed up. And one of the poor guys, he basically put his foot through the roof of the garage. Like, I thought it was mushy because there was sort of moss and stuff on top of it. No, that moss is growing on wood that has become a sponge. And and it's been raining a lot, and I've got a tarp up there and stuff, and I have to get it re-roofed. And I'd love to do something spectacular. If this were the Stargate days, I would get solar panels and I'd get all sorts of fancy stuff, and I'd kit this thing out like a freaking evil villain's lair. But it is not Stargate days. It is old back bacon sausage Stargate guy, and so it's not the same. So I've got to get the roof. I got to get the roof fixed. So I've called up the Canadian roofing place, but for some reason, roofs terrify me. I don't know what it is about them, but there's just like this, like I lie in bed worrying about, what's living in there, or what's soggy, or what's leaking, or what's not. Is it going to land on my comic books? Is it gonna take out my fabulous donated server from James? I mean, what's gonna, I've got 3D printed, I've got proofs of things and stuff. Like I'm so paranoid that I'm going to lose the roof. I think it's okay right now. I mean, I look around and I see the damage is mainly on the outside and stuff. But if anyone's got any advice on roofs, please let me know. Also, I have no idea what a flat garage roof should cost to re-roof. So if anyone's got any suggestions, please let me know, and I will obviously keep you posted. All right, put a Doctor Who weeping angel. Oh God, wouldn't that be amazing? That would be really cool to have a weeping. Maybe I'll 3D print a weeping angel and put it on the door or something. I want to put the Mad Max Furioso steering wheel on the door, so it has that kind of like rock and roll. This is the future apocalyptic look to it, and a weeping angel would be fun. Once I get the 3D printing Prusa farm set up, which I shamefully haven't even started on, maybe I can 3D print like a nice big weeping angel to sit there staring at me while I'm working. And maybe I could print 2 of them, one that moves slightly, so I could freak people out by just changing them every so often. Anyways, or you do like a digital face on it that changes. That would be interesting. When you're looking at it, there's nothing. When you look away, on comes a little projected face. That could be fun. Anyway, thank you for that suggestion, Jonathan. Some of it requires premium. Is LinkedIn Learning free? No, I don't believe so. From Nova Scotia, Mr. Bones, I'm headed that way. Well, unfortunately not Nova Scotia. Well, not unfortunately. I'm going to Newfoundland. But so I'm up in that neck of the woods, I think next week, although I haven't gotten a schedule yet for that. Got like a week of shooting up there. Have you tried those audio tapes where you can learn Spanish or mathematics or something like that while you're sleeping? I haven't tried it when I'm sleeping. I haven't tried that. My wife would. You know what? I already make enough noise. I woke her up last night like 4 times because I was getting muscle spasms in my back. Because I've been doing all this organizing here. I've been trying to get stuff out of the way. Anything that might get leaked down, I'm sort of moving things over and stuff. There's no point in saving wood if it's just going to just get soggy and that. So yeah, I kept on waking up going, "Ugh!" That was how poor woman kept getting woken up by my cries of pain. I am doing great, thank you, Dana. So I don't know what it is. There's just something about this roof. It's just, oh my God. I was literally going to say this roof is hanging over me. I was literally going to say that without any irony. Okay, it should be Stargate days. I know. I wish we need Stargate. Look, I need Stargate back. I got to pay for a roof. Trust me, bro. Crawl spaces are 1,000% worse than roofs. I used to install HVAC systems. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. I mean, but is a flat roof a DIY thing? I don't think my wife will let me. Hey, it's David Sams. How are you, buddy? Oh, dude, that coin is so freaking cool. I met David in Basingstoke, and he is a detectorist. He has that metal detector, and he goes around and he finds stuff. And I've got 25 acres of fields well, I don't. My wife does, but she lets me use them. I will be wandering Jane's fields. That sounds rather obscene, doesn't it? I will be wandering through Jane's fields with a metal detector in my older age. And David Sams was telling me about how that's been working for him. And he actually gave me this little. I mean, I don't know how you. I mean, again, I guess it's because of the metal detector you found it. But I would have just gone like, it's a bit of dirt. But it's a little Roman coin. Like it's a little tiny bit of a. It's fantastic. Anyways, what about crowdfunding your burn and learn lair? Make someone else pay for my garage. I don't know if that would work. That seems a little unfair. I mean, you give your time to us so freely. I'm sure, like me, many would love to help and contribute. AP Kirby, that's very sweet of you. But I think I should pay for. I should pay for my own roof. If I can't pay for the roof over my head, for God's sake. I mean, I guess I could, if I made it a project, I suppose I could say like, okay, you know what? You know what I should do? If I turned it into like a sump pump adventure, if I turned the roof into a roofing adventure, I'd have to hire a roofer who would let me be the Stargate intern for the roof. So I'd have to work with the roof, and then I'd film the whole thing. So like I'd hire a crew and shoot the roof being made. And we could talk about solar power, and depending on what we get, we could like soup it up. Like if it's really, actually, that's not a bad idea. You know what I mean? Like you could do like a little show about Hewlett Hewlett makes a roof, and it could just be like a show about building like the fanciest, most science fiction roof you can think of on the top of my little garage for my Burn&Learns. I kind of like that idea, actually. I don't know. I'm not sure if there'd be enough people to actually fund it, but it could be fun. It'll cost you. Oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? Aaron, please tell me you're wrong. 15 to 20K for the roof? It's a flat roof. Oh, yeah, I can't afford that. So you know what? I guess I am doing it. I am doing it because I'm doing a show about building a roof. I just ordered a 3D printed Enterprise, E to paint and apply lights to. What? Really? Easy to paint and apply lights to. Wow, cool. Chaos Surveyor. What do you got? You got a 3D printed Enterprise. You just ordered it. Oh, don't order it, print it. It's way more fun to make these things. Yay, East Coast represent. Damn right, Devon Adams. Unless you outsource it to the local. Aaron, terrible. Yeah, it's funny. There's a. When I was living in California, there was. What I became very apparent to me as a Canadian was that there's like society, and there's this whole other. I shouldn't put them below, but I mean just as an example, there's a collection of people who are working for. In many cases, under minimum wage, and they are predominantly from Mexico in California, and. Basically, they run LA. I mean, LA is, I don't know what would happen. With the construction would stop, education would stop because everyone's nannies, and there's all these jobs that have been taken over by people who are incredible, like lovely people working very, very hard, and working for less than what most other people will work for. Roofing, roofing, exactly. Well, that's what they're saying, I guess that's what you're saying. So, but we don't have the equivalent here in Canada, which I kind of think is a good thing. Like, I feel a bit like, doing dangerous, exhausting renovation work for under minimum wage. Because that's big money to be sent down to their relatives in Mexico. I don't know. It feels really wrong to me. But it's funny. Like, I mean, in the real estate industry, every real estate agent would have like a contractor who just had a number of people who could just go in and fix things up or doll up a house, whatever, before they were sold and stuff. And yeah, there's an entire industry below the industry, if that makes sense. And I guess it is below the industry because, of course, it's much cheaper. But but the work for the most part is amazingly done, and you're paying just a fraction of it. I don't know how you compete. Anyway, so I come back up here, and now I'm looking at 10 to 15,000 for a roof. It would probably cost me a fraction of that. And garage roof just needs sheets of wood with roofing sheets over the top. See, that's what I would have thought. Except, Jonathan, I also want to be able to work in here. So I really think that if I'm going to replace the roof, it seems like a perfectly good opportunity to get some insulation in there as well. So I'm guessing that's going to up it even more. Oh, David, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. And really, again, thank you so much for that's very generous of you to give me your Roman find like that. I'll have to drag you out in the field with me when I'm in England next doing that. In that case, you could probably get it done for about 500 and a couple cases of beer. Well, I mean, if you get friends, I guess. I don't have friends who can use a tube power. I wouldn't trust any of my friends with power tools. No, I don't even trust myself. Actually, I trust myself, but my wife doesn't trust me with power tools anyways. But yeah, I mean, I feel like for 15 grand, Jesus, I could buy all the freaking tools you need to do roofs. Could I not do it? You're right. It's fairly simple, isn't it? I mean, anyways, look, these guys are going to come around and have a look at it and give me a quote. And when I pick my heart up off the floor from shock at the price, I'll have a look at that. Newfoundland is beautiful as well. Huge Stargate fan. I actually tried messaging you on Facebook. Wasn't sure if you ever got it, but I was trying to show you my awesome Stargate game fan project. Oh, cool, Mr. Bones. That sounds amazing. I'm terrible on social media. I'm terrible on social media and on email. Just so we know. I suck. I suck at communication in general. I am so distracted all the time. The best way my close friends, it's all text for me at this point. I literally don't even check my voicemail anymore. My agent probably hates me. My agent probably left a million messages. I may be working all the time. I just don't even know about it. All right. Let me know if there's any. Let me know if there is an easier way to get it to you. Well, try, Mr. Bones, email me at davidihewlett@gmail.com. That is my sort of internet-facing internet address. I don't promise to get back to you quickly because I have a lot of stuff in that inbox. In fact, I wanted to look into some AI to help out with that. The AI stuff. So what have I learned? What have I learned? So Unreal. I've learned all of the basics, maneuvering in the program. I should let you know what this is. Unreal is done by Epic Games. They're the guys who do Fortnite and a bunch of other stuff. I believe, is it Overwatch? I'm not sure if Overwatch as well. I'm not sure. I have to hold off on that. But it's definitely Fortnite and a number of other things. They have this wonderful thing called Unreal Engine, which is their game development platform. It is free, at least to start, until you start selling games. And it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. They've got all these assets. Like, you can pull anything you can see in Fortnite, you can basically use in your own game. I don't know if you could sell it in the. Maybe you can. I don't know. But like all of the assets that you see in Fortnite, you can bring into Unreal Engine and create your own stuff with it. And I'm just really excited about it. It also gets used a lot in the film industry. There's you see those big light walls, those big sort of screens behind actors in The Mandalorian and stuff. That's all run on Unreal Engine because you can move the camera and it creates a parallax. So it actually looks like you're in the location as opposed to just looking at a screen. So amazing tool. It can be used for animation. It can be used for gaming. It can be used for visual effects. It can be used for commercials. It can be used for all of those like sports center stuff, like basically virtual sets and all of the text stuff that you see and tying it into data and stuff. It's just extraordinary what you can do. Architecture, there's a lot of stuff you could do with this thing, and I really want to get at least a basic understanding of this thing. Like, I really would like to be using it. I just think even just as a previs tool, like imagine being able to go like, okay, I've written this little script, which I have actually. I've written a script. I say I've written it. I've puked it out. I haven't done the editing yet. That's the hard part, where you actually have to make it good. Right now, it's probably terrible. I haven't read it yet. But having written it, I haven't read it. But imagine being able to sit down in an application and create every shot that you want for that movie. Potentially, you could literally have people voice it, and you could use metahumans to create the entire movie. You could literally walk into a distributor and say, "Hey, here's the movie we'd like to make." La, la, la. And then there you go. They're watching. They'd be watching it right there. Probably not in here because they might get rained on. But how is it possible Stargate is already dead for more than a decade? Where has all the time gone? Yeah, no kidding. Black Felt. You're absolutely right. It just goes incredibly fast. Imagine having a child the year before you stop Stargate, and then you've got a visual, visual representation of how much time it's been since you did Stargate. My son is taller than I am. That's how long it's been for Stargate. Throw a barbecue. It sounds like a plan. Learning with sleeping reminds me of that episode of Dexter's Lab where he used a vinyl to learn French. Vinyl. My son's into vinyl. He makes a roof. Sounds dangerous. Doesn't it? Hewlett makes a roof. Doesn't it sound dangerous? You see? Romantic would tune in to watch that. If so, please set up time lapse to have quick roof build animations. Ooh, and I could use Unreal Engine to do previses of that too. So you could do the architectural. This is beginning to turn into a YouTube channel, isn't it? Doing a room is easy. I've done lots of DIY. Doing a room is easy. I've done lots of DIY. Doing a roof you think is easy. 3D print the roof. Ooh, no, you couldn't do that. Unless you could print with the material and use that, you could do your tiles in 3D printed in 3D print. I've got to look into materials. I got to look into some materials for this stuff. I love the idea of Look, I've always loved those DIY shows. I am one of the jokes on set whenever I go and work on location anywhere is, okay, I'm going home to watch HGTV because we don't get HGTV at home because I'd get nothing done. But when I go and work, I'm usually put up in put up in hotels, and the hotel almost always has HGTV. So I will have dinner, say good night everyone, thank you very much, and they all think, oh, there's that old man going to get his early rest. No, he's going up to watch HGTV for the next 4 hours. Question: you said you would rejoin Stargate cast in a heartbeat. Would you want to be main cast like you were, or would you prefer a smaller but still active role like Zelenka? Well, that's interesting. I honestly either. I enjoyed having huge amounts of dialogue and stuff to say and do on Stargate. I think I'd get bored if I just had to stand around. I mean, I keep thinking of Jason. I reminded him about this in Basingstoke about how he'd said to me, you think it's hard saying all those lines? Try listening to them, Hugh Dog. So he raises a really good point. It's very, very hard to just stand around on set doing nothing. We'll find. I've only got a couple of scenes in this thing coming up, so I'll probably do a lot of standing around on that too. But this is the beauty of the world today, though, is you could throw an earpods on and you're listening to tutorials and stuff while you're on set. And I'm such a nerd, I tend to run around finding out what everyone's doing. But I would do either, honestly. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. Look at Florida. What am I looking at Florida for? Sadly, someone said that slavery is the most lucrative business. This is why Mexico people used to. Yeah. I mean, slavery is the most lucrative business. I mean, it's we are enslaved by, not we so much, but to some extent we are. I mean, I think there's the obvious historical elements of slavery, but yeah, I think it still exists in many forms. And I think one thing about these corporations becoming larger and larger and larger is that they expect more and more for less and less. So I think that. I think that it'd be interesting to see what the figures are on that, like what people are getting paid for what they do compared to where it used to be and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting point. It is it's very sad. Sad that the most lucrative business is slavery. Yikes. Hello from Paris. Bonjour, Merlin. Would you come to Toulouse Game Show Convention again in a second? I love it. I love that one. It's so much fun. I would do that again in a second. Sorry, talking Stargate. Have you heard the rumors that Amazon are outsourcing the rights to Stargate and that Disney are interested, especially for the theme park aspect? I have not heard that. It's a great story. I love the idea of that. I think the best person to walk you through that Disney park ride would probably be Rodney McKay, but I'm just saying that. I don't think I'll ever understand how anyone can afford to live in California. I can barely afford to live in Missouri, and it's super cheap here. California, to be honest, I didn't find California as expensive as Toronto. I think Toronto is more expensive than California at this point. California, you're not really paying. Your heating bills are lower. I guess AC, but even then, you can sort of get away with. It's just such a temperate climate, so there's that aspect. I think it depends where you live as well, and I think there is an availability of cheap sort of food and supplies and stuff there that I don't find in Toronto. Toronto is just really freaking expensive. In order to sell stuff in Toronto, it's expensive. You wait when they come and look at this roof to decide what my roof's going to cost. It's going to cost more because they're going to be like, where do we park? What do we got to do? We got to drive into town to do this, and whatever. Insulate the underside between the rafters with rock full or foam board. Yes, Jonathan, I actually started doing that, and that's when I noticed the roof. So we'd had a bunch of stuff done in here. We had the whole side fixed because this whole side of the garage was basically rotting away. And so we had it all replaced, and there was a tree had basically grown into the side of the material, and the water was running down this tree into this. It was just destroying the whole thing. Anyway, so that's all being redone. So that's what I did. I got a bunch of this. I got a bunch of this rock wool and fiberglass stuff. I started putting it up between the rafters to help out, and that's when I noticed all this black mold stuff all around the outside. And then when you go up, you realize the roof is just gone. So yeah, definitely. I was hoping to do a what they call a warm roof. So you put like an underlay. You put your usually a not usually, I think it has to be a rigid foam. You put a rigid foam down, and that's your insulation. And then you put your waterproofing and your like what are the equivalent of a tile on top. I just thought a rubber roof would be the way to go. Like I love these big sheets of rubber stuff that you glue down. It looks so doable. But as my wife has pointed out, there's a lot of projects I've started that looked very doable. And I don't know what we're going to do if I get, what happens if I get on that roof and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't know how to replace that, or oh, I'm stuck in the roof, or whatever. So I think she's a little nervous about that idea. But yeah, rock wool is fantastic. Rock wool is one of my favorite materials. I love that stuff. It's good. We put it around the fireplace. There's a special fire retardant version of it and stuff. It's just great. But thank you. Amazon will do another Stargate. Just make sure you're involved. Yeah, please. That'd be great. Just let me know, Michael, whenever it's happening. Stargate theme park escape room would be. Oh my God, wouldn't that be good? Has anyone done a Stargate escape room? They totally should. And if they do, call me. Let me know, and I'll do a voice for it. Actually, yeah, that's the thing. Why isn't Randy the Magic Man should do that? He's always building escape room things for his escape room thing. I did a voice for him on one of his sci-fi escape rooms. It was just like a couple of lines or something, but it was fun, and it's just kind of fun to be able to help out in that way too. Like, does Momoa know roofing? Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? Can you imagine getting Jason Momoa instead of building bikes and cars and stuff? Why isn't he building houses? He can come and do my roof for me. God, maybe that's a show I should be pitching. That would be just great. Let me know when you are in the UK, and we will go digging. I'd love to, David. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, keep reminding me. Cool. Was afraid I missed the learn portion. You did not miss the learn portion. No, it is a ton of Unreal stuff. So the basics of Unreal. Got into a little bit, again, the basics included things like the different modes. So you've got a landscape mode where you can literally paint landscape onto your scene and change the terrain. There's materials, so they're showing you how you could create materials of your own, how you can import materials, how you change the materials, and then you create instances of those materials that you can then be adjusted as necessary. There was a little bit of modeling. It seems that people don't do a lot of modeling in Unreal. They seem to do modeling in other applications like Maya or Blender or whatever, and then they bring it in. I don't know why. Like, it looks like they've got tools there, but perhaps because something like Blender is so specifically good and designed for sculpting that maybe that's why they use it. I love Blender too, but Blender is incredibly complicated. I've done a number of tutorials on thase as well. I guess I'll be watching them again as I crack away at the torture device. Where are we at here? Unreal Engine lets you create your own virtual character you use as base model for homemade mocap projects. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. LOL. It's got motion capture, so you can literally with a very basic, I don't even think it needs a suit anymore, but you can, with kind of, at a basic level, you can walk around a room and it will, and you can capture that data, bring it into Unreal. The terrifying thing, which is something else that I've been doing a learn on, is the AI tools that are available now. Because there's AI tools that could basically, in real time, take what we're doing here, turn it into, some kind of a wraith beast that's talking for me with a different voice. I mean, it's and lip sync it and all. I mean, like it would just be. The technology out there is extraordinary, and so as much as I want to learn these tools, these sort of, I mean, I'm not going to call Unreal Engine a traditional design tool, but it's certainly it's a more traditional established gaming platform for sure. But how many of these things are going to be? How much upheaval are we going to see in these industries because of AI? I think it's going to be quite a bit. So I sort of want to keep an eye on all elements of that. So I've been watching a lot of stuff on AI filmmaking, a lot of stuff on Unreal filmmaking. I am such an extrovert hermit, if that makes sense. I love being alone. I love being by myself. I I think I would happily go entirely wild man by myself, without people. Absolutely, happily do that. I could live in complete isolation. At the same time, when I get out, I'm an extrovert. It's just bizarre because I'm actually quite shy. I don't like talking to people. I don't think I'd have the same rapport in person with all of you as I do here. I think this is sort of a unique kind of experience. And honestly, this is the treat that I get at the end of my torture device. I mean, this is I was thinking well, I could go live and talk about some stuff, and then I was like, no, not without the exercise first. Got to do that first. I am doing very well. Thank you, Pikmin. Very good. Yourself, I hope. Unreal Engine. Let's see you use your virtual character to use as a base model for home. Yeah, I would love to do that. There is Unreal Engine VR project that converts most games programs that enables VR. Xeon, I'd love to do that, except VR just makes me sick. I just feel like I literally get motion sickness from it. Unreal Engine is huge. It looks very daunting to learn. But that's the thing, Pikmin guts. Everything's complicated when you don't know how to use it. So you just kind of like the exercise, just start chipping away at it. And I mean, honestly, LinkedIn Learning, it's a great way to go. You don't even have to do that. There's a lot of tutorials online, YouTube tutorials. I just found that I in a weird way, I am very conservative on that. I want a very simple, basic, no flash, nothing fancy understanding. I used to read these wonderful books. I think it was by Sam's Publishing, who used to do these, C++ in 21 days, or web programming in 21 days, or JavaScript or whatever. And I went through these things every 21 days. I just get another one of these big books and go and read. I loved it. It was fantastic. And I feel like I get to do the same thing, only with video here while I'm exercising. Like, oh my God, the future is amazing. What do I say? What an incredible... oh God, there was a term. I had a little saying that I like, because there's a guy who I watch who does 2-minute papers. To be alive! What a wonderful time to be alive! What was I saying? I was saying it's an epic. What an epic epoch, or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it's I need some of those little catchphrases, don't I? Especially if I'm going to do a roofing show. I'd love to see you in Stargate again. Your performance in the shrine always gets me. Dang, thank you so much. It was so much fun. Take lots of photos of the roof. I will tell you what you need and walk you through the process. Really? So I'll be like your virtual avatar. You'll just tell me. Have you done so David, have you done roofs before? You've done roofing before. It's not all doom and gloom for Mexicans. The reason they commit to such a hard life is to give their children a chance to undergo economic mobility. Well, yeah. I mean, that is a big part of it, is to try to get their next generation out of this sort of hellish existence down there. I mean, there's, it's not the freaking holiday resorts that we familiarize ourselves with. It's, there's some terrible, terrible stuff going on, and a lot of it caused by American policy on the war on drugs and stuff. There's a lot of issues there that we have. It is an issue that I don't know how you solve. I just don't know how you solve. I mean, I'm sort of coming around to this idea that maybe we should all have a basic minimum income. Maybe we should maybe it can be based on people are gonna cheat that all the time, I guess. But I just wish there was a way. I feel like we have enough resources in the world for everyone to at least not starve and not be miserable. I feel like everyone should have a roof over their head. I'm not saying they should own it necessarily, but at least they should have a safe place to live and enough food to feed themselves and their family. And also, I really think education, because frankly, if we could educate everyone, imagine what a world we would live in. Oh, what a time to be alive. Like I just like how great would it be if everyone was brilliant. Other problem I have is sound. Just to that. That's trucks backing up because there's an alley back there. So it's not the greatest place for podcasting, but at the same time, I mean, like if I had Stargate money again now, I would also soundproof the crap out of this. I would turn this into like an isolation chamber. And then I really could be alone all the time. Anyways, even New Brunswick has been getting ridiculous for cost of living the past few years. Really. Real estate market's silly. Everyone's buying up rental properties. Yeah. Well, because they seem like a deal to us, Devon. Probably. I mean, the average house price in Toronto is now like $1.2 million. Like, that's insane. That's just beyond most people. Hello, Mr. Hewlett. I really loved your performance in Cube. Oh, thank you. And Treed Murray. Wow, you've been watching it start yet. Of course. Jean-Francois Bouchard, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cube was so much fun. We just did a retrospective on it the other day. We were in the Calgary Underground Film Festival. Vincenzo and Andrew Miller, who played Kazan, and myself were there and talking about Cube, and we also screened Nothing, which I just, my God, I cringed through Nothing. I couldn't believe, what we thought was funny, but people liked it. I mean, it was extraordinary, but it felt like of a whole other era to me. I remember watching Cube in the cinema, and later on Divx. Yeah, man, that was a pirated movie all the freaking time. Speaking of which, I paid to watch Civil War last night. It was interesting. I mean, I'm not going to say I enjoyed it, and I'm not going to say I really liked it, but it was an interesting film. It suffered from the problem of it not being based on a real war. I mean, I understand that it was a warning to some extent, and I thought there was some brilliant stuff in it for sure. But it lacked the weight of a real war. Like, I think he was trying to make Apocalypse Now, but an Apocalypse Now that was happening in the U.S., and because he didn't want to sort of take sides, and because he didn't want to, I think, turn it into a big political debate, I think he tried to sort of avoid specifics. Like, it was like California and Texas seemed to want to secede, and then there was an overthrow of the president and this kind of stuff. It's definitely worth watching. It's not what you expect. I almost guarantee you it's not what you expect, because I expected I guess I was expecting like, Red Dawn, that kind of thing, only Civil War kind of thing. But it's not. It's very low key. Like, there's really intense fighting stuff, and there's some brutal violence and brilliant performances. But it's all based on the photojournalist. So it's from the photojournalist's perspective of an America in turmoil. And so you just got these weird scenes where they're sitting around blowing off some steam after a day of filming riots and Unabombers and things, and the lights keep going out, and they can't use the elevators, and it's just, it's a very, very dark future, potential future. Maybe I'm naive. I think they went extreme to make a point. I don't know that I go like, yeah, that's going to happen, but. Part of the movie is about people going like, well, that's not going to happen. Anyways, it was interesting. Okay. There's been a Stargate theme ride. Has there? I didn't know that. Zachary, where was the Stargate theme ride? Still me. Everything where you can cause water damage always feels a bit too risky for DIY. Yeah. This is less of a risk, still me, for sure. Like, I would never touch my own roof. No way. Again, everything sounds rude today. I'm not touching my own roof. I would not touch my own house roof, because I feel like someone made a really good point where they said the reason why roofs are so expensive is they're accredited so they can be insured, so that you can be insured, and that roof is covering, like, if the average house price is $1.2 million in Toronto, then we know my house is worth at least $1.2 million, and so that roof is covering that investment. I don't know what part of it would be this. I would be very. There would be things lost here if there was a catastrophic roof collapse that would never be replaced. There's comic books and collectibles and a lot of Stargate stuff that would just never, you'd never be able to replace it. So I need to be careful. Those are in cabinets that I think are fairly protected, but Yeah, I would. I definitely would probably sleep better at night. I would definitely sleep better at night if I had a good roof over my head for this stuff, or they had a good roof over their head. Do you have recommendations for 3D printer? Yes, absolutely. LP. If you want to, depending on how nerdy you are, I would highly recommend the Prusa because it is simple. Let's see if I can show you. Uh, this is my collection of. Sorry, as soon as I move, I lose the signal. Don't really know what's going on. I have to investigate that as well because I've got a giant repeater right there. Anyways, Prusa. Get yourself a Prusa. A little more expensive. I would get a kit if you are into really want to get into it. Like know your 3D printing stuff. Then order the Prusa kit. You build it yourself so you know when something goes wrong exactly what's going wrong because you have built every nut and bolt of that. It takes about a day, but it's worth it. It's fantastic, and I built two of them, and I'm about to build like three or four more. So I absolutely love them. Are they the most fancy thing ever? No, but they are. But they are bulletproof. They are wonderful, wonderful machines. They've got great support, and more importantly, they're made by the greatest people on the planet. They really are. I went and visited their factory out in Prague, and they're just fantastic. It is. Oh, I'm jealous. That is a, I would love to work at Prusa. I think it's just genius. So yes, absolutely, without a doubt, hands down, Prusa. Again, yes, they send me stuff. It's true, but they only send me stuff because I've been talking about how much I love them. Because I bought myself unsolicited. I bought that first printer myself. Actually, that wasn't the first one. The one that I bought and built myself originally, I gave to one of my tech bandits to use, and he's using it all the time for robotics and stuff. And that's like it's got to be almost 10 years old, that printer now. And he bought a fancy new one and was using that for a bit. Yeah, kept breaking down. So he went back to the Prusa to his bulletproof Prusa to do the printing for his robot stuff. So yeah, I cannot recommend them enough. As I say, you can get cheaper. I wouldn't. I'd go with them. Anyways, I've been a big fan since SGA. That's Stargate Atlantis. All right, so that's actually not that surprising. Erica, Rodney is your favorite. Then you have very good taste, very, very good taste in characters. Welcome, Arissa. Sorry, Aris. Yeah, Arissa, that makes sense. Arissa, welcome. Everyone say hello to Arissa. I know you share your amazing Burn&Learn sessions, but any chance of how-to videos? Because I could listen and learn from you for hours. Oh, AP Kerber, that's very sweet of you. Well, I mean, what I could do, as I say, I need to build those printers. So maybe I'll just throw up a camera. I'll throw up a camera and maybe just do like an overhead on it, and you can sort of watch them being built. And I can talk you through some of that stuff. So I have this crazy idea to make a film. Well, I'll get a couple of crazy ideas to make films. But I don't want to make them in a traditional way because I just feel like traditional film is in trouble and I don't want to be a part of it. It really bothers me. All the development and all these freaking executives and union issues and all. Anyways, I just want to go back to filmmaking. I want to make little films and do stuff. So hands-on stuff with my friends. And so I thought, how much fun would it be to just do something in Unreal or do something with this AI stuff? So I thought, of all my ideas, the silliest one that would never work as a movie is Mad Mouse, which is Mad Max done with mice and with little animals instead of people. And you'd call it Furry Road. And I've already started having AI generate characters. Like, for example, I had this idea for a character. One of the sort of the big baddies in Mad Max is this guy called Immortal Joe. And well, it just made sense to me. It would be, it's Australia, so why not Immortal Joey? So I've got this wonderful image of this sort of grizzled old. It's like a grizzled old kangaroo with the mask on. And I just think it'd be so much fun to make and potentially set it in a post-apocalyptic Toronto. And I even have an idea for like a little plot and stuff. So I thought, what a great way to experiment with these new technologies and just to try them out, because there would be no great cost associated. There'd be a bit of a cost associated because I'd have to sign up for a bunch of these AI, but they're all monthly and stuff like that. So you could sort of gear up for like 6 months to make it, and then stop the subscriptions from there and stuff. But I just think it'd be really fun to play with that. So that's what I'd like to do. When I'm not building a roof apparently and doing a show about that. The problem is not enough hours in the day. I need someone just to help me organize my day and make me more productive. It's supposed to be Jane, but she's too busy all the time now. All the time, for some reason she's not entirely focused on me all the time. I don't understand it. shocking, really. Anyways, so yeah, so the idea of like lessons, I've always loved the idea of doing tutorials. I just, it's again the organizational factor. I am so ADD or ADHD. I am so all over the place. I'm just not sure that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, let me know. Let me know. I mean, like I say, like I had a lot of fun doing a little video on on getting my sump pump to work. Maybe I could do that with the roof. That would be fun. But it's time and topics and stuff. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I would if you like the tutorials, I would definitely go through the what's it called, LinkedIn Learning stuff. It's amazing. Maybe we can start like a mastermind or something. I've been listening to my business porn, as I call it, all these sort of business podcasts, and one of the things I'm seeing as important for the future is relationships, is having your, is what the marketing guy would call it, your tribe, but a community basically. Like, and I've always been a fan of online community stuff. Like way back, I mean, we're talking about Cube. So I designed the website for Cube with my sister. My sister did all the visual design stuff. I did all the web stuff and some programming, some Perl scripting and stuff, and did one of the first. It was one of the first available Perl script message board basically, and so for a while in there it was amazing. Like I couldn't get, it was the most popular part of the website was this messaging board where people would, not messaging board, like a bulletin board, like, where people could post and chat between each other and stuff. Of course it very quickly deteriorates into just name calling and spam and stuff, but that, not right away. The movie was the center for a long time, and I think a big part of Cube's success was that it had like an internet component as well, and we were very much connected with the distributor on that kind of stuff, and ended up doing a bunch of movies, other of their movies as well, doing websites for other of their movies and stuff. Just loved doing that, really loved it. That's basically where film, TV, internet came from. Like I love that intersection of technology and art and storytelling and stuff. So it's always been a big thing for me. But the idea of community, weirdly, was always sort of a latched on part of the projects that I worked on, but were always the most popular. Like, so I did that. I did D-Geek for a while, which I just loved. I love D-Geek, but it became too much, and I felt awful because I had all these volunteers working like through the night getting stuff done, and then there were just a lot of, the squabbles got me. The internal squabble, the people online who would email you and say, "Oh, so and so said this and did that," and I got it. That felt a bit like parenting. Maybe I'd be better at it now because I am doing parenting, sort of. Or I am being parented basically by my wife and my son. But yeah, I found it all a bit tiring after a while. That aspect of it. But what I'm learning as I look into this more, because I mean, Discord is interesting to me, and of course the newsletter stuff, which I haven't written for a while. That's wonderful too, because it's such a direct connection with people. You get to talk to people directly, and so one of the things I've been learning in my business porn, where they talk about, because again, a lot of these podcasters and stuff are now talking about community, like it's like this, oh, the greatest marketing tip is community. I'm like, well, dude, community is community. I don't know how you. It's like someone saying like you're so authentic. It's like, what? Like what? You mean as opposed to fake? Like what is the term authentic? Just makes my skin crawl. Anyways, but the idea that like having a community of like-minded people, like we do here. Although I don't know what your connection is, that you like watching sweaty old guys, complain about exercise, I suppose. But I guess there's a science and sci-fi angle as well too. But I do this more for me than you guys, I'm afraid. But anyways, I think there's something kind of wonderful about the idea of a community, and I think that is going to be so important going forward, because there's no point in making Mad Mouse if no one's going to watch it, right? There's no point in roofing the house and filming that if no one's going to, you know what I mean? Like, and you're going to get a movie out. The reason why I get hired for movies is they want me, in many cases, to promote the movie as well, right? So I always find that difficult. Like I got asked to promote the show that I'm doing next week, and I'm like, well, I haven't done the show yet. I'm not sure if I want to be promoting a show that I don't know anything about and I haven't been in yet. So maybe I'll wait a bit. Other than saying, hey, Newfoundland, there's not a lot shooting there, so I'm sure you can figure it out. All right, did you ever finish the bathroom remodel? I remember it from a Burn&Learn years ago. Yes, the bathrooms were being redone, not by me. the first day of the apocalypse, the first day of the pandemic, basically when we realized that everything was shutting down, for some reason I tore apart the top bathroom. And then I meticulously took it all apart, took everything out, bought parts, got everything ready to go, and then sat out the pandemic, basically not doing anything. So my poor wife spent the entire pandemic with our main bathroom out of commission, and for some reason she's still with me. On theme parks, anyone been to the Thorpe Park UK? Image search, Thorpe Park Rush logo. Not sure how they did that. I'll have to check that out. Humble Bundle does the occasional Unreal Asset Bundle. Bought quite a few for Unity. Oh, see, I used to love Unity, but I just heard that there were a lot of issues with the management of Unity. I heard there were some issues, and they had some dodgy like internal culture issues that I was privy to that made me kind of nervous. And also, frankly, Unreal's just taken over. I mean, Unity could have done it, I thought, originally, and I was very interested in Unity, and I did a bunch of Unity tutorials as well. But I feel like Unreal's ahead of the game right now. I could be wrong, but that's where I'm at. And again, these are secondhand information that I have. I'm not saying that Unity is a bad company. I just don't know. I don't know enough about it. But these were people I knew who were working there who ended up leaving because they were not happy with the way they were treated, and people within the way issues were dealt with. Anyway, so there you go. When are you doing a yard sale? Yeah, I should do a yard sale. What's funny? So one of the things I had to do was something I used to do with the Tech Bandits kids all the time was I used to bring old printers and stuff in, and then we used to take them apart and stuff. So I've not been doing that lately. It's just become untenable because I'm not really using it with the local kids. I'm trying to focus on this escape room stuff, but I've been still collecting lots of stuff for people to take apart. Well, I got the orders the other day that we have to pare that down. So I got rid of a lot of stuff. What I've done is I've sort of taken the fun bits out of the stuff we have. The printers I've left intact. They're unfortunately gonna have to go to e-waste and stuff. Where there's some companies that will do things with them. And here's the other thing is they never stop. There's not a week goes by. Garbage week does not go by that there aren't like probably 6 or 7 printers and things that I could be taking for if I did need to do another breaker space type thing, or tech autopsies as I called them. So I think there's basically an unlimited supply of that stuff. I don't need to be hoarding it in my garage. And as my wife pointed out, you know how expensive like square footage is in Toronto? Think about what it's costing us to store all of these old things that I've got wrapped in plastic and that we're not using. So I took out all of the CPUs. I don't know why, but I'm just sort of obsessed with the actual. I love the look of them, and I feel like maybe there's some artwork that could be done with them. Maybe they can be sort of CNC'd out into sort of cool shapes, and maybe there's something that could be done with them. And also, there's just like, to me, it's a bit like watching the kid grow up. You watch the different progression of CPUs, and I've got a whole box of motherboards and stuff. And eventually, what I'll do is I'll figure out or talk my wife into letting me buy a little soldering. I don't know what I'd use it. Would you use it? Actually, this is a good question for you guys. Do you use the oven or do you use a plate? What is the best way to desolder CPUs from a circuit board? What is the best way to do that? Because what I'd love to do, and other components for that matter, I'd love to be able to just put it on something and then just pull off the various components. I know it's not as simple as that, but it would be nice to do that. If anyone's got any tips on that, maybe Jonathan, do you have any tips on that, or maybe anyone been working on that at all? C++ in 21 days, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is it. So Xeon, what was great about C++ in 21 days was you don't learn how to program. You're not a programmer after 21 days, but you have the basics, and you can go from there. And I think that's what I loved about it was in most cases, 21 days was about as long as I could focus on something, and it allowed me to get an understanding of the programming language, which I would never get otherwise. Like, unfortunately, it's like I'm not living in France, so I don't speak French. I'm not having to program in C++ all the time, so I'm never going to get to the point where I'm really good at it. One thing I love about AI and using Copilot and ChatGPT with programming is that it just helps you with the syntax. So you know what you want to do, you ask it, and it can help you with the syntax and that kind of stuff. And even really good at debugging too. Like you can actually cut and paste your code. You go like, what the, what is it? Cut and paste the code into ChatGPT, and it'll go like, "Dude, you spelled this wrong." And you're like, "Ah," because you didn't see it. It's a computer. So there's that kind of stuff. It's pretty great. I know. I said I can listen to you for hours. I also love your writing, especially the email newsletters you sent. Oh, thank you, AP. Yeah, I love doing those too. Are we still on roof talk? It can be fixed, David. Ben's like, what? Where? What topic are we on now? Yes, it can be fixed. I'm sure it can be fixed. I don't think it can be fixed. I think it needs to be replaced. I don't even think. I know it needs to be replaced. Like it is literally a sponge at this point. Can I say Nico? I can. I just did. Hello, mix makers. LOL. They really put these Stargate chevrons on the logo. Oh, really? Do they really? Rescheduling it is a start, but in my humble opinion, it's a cop-out. Rescheduling? What? Rescheduling what? What's rescheduling what? What are we talking about? Bear, what are we talking about? What's up? What are we rescheduling? What is this stream about? Mix makers. Oh, it's a good question. So, mix makers, this is what I call a burn and learn. So, I hate exercise. So, I forced myself onto the torture device, which is an elliptical machine, and I do about half an hour of that while I'm learning something. And then I like to come online as a sort of reward to myself for exercising and as a way to guilt myself if I don't exercise. And I like to learn something while I'm doing it. So, what I've been learning right now is Unreal. I've been working on some Unreal tutorials. While I'm exercising. I've just discovered that that is a great way to eat up a lot of time and get that exercise in without even really noticing it. So I've really been enjoying that. But of course, I am all over the place. I'm like an explosion of different topics. So I go all over the place. So yeah, it tends to ramble a bit. It's a bit of a ramble, Mix Makers, but welcome. Thank you for joining us. What do you think about Sunak wanting to bring back mandatory national service here in the UK? I don't like it. I don't know anything about it. It's the first I've heard of it. Conscription is terrifying to me. Absolutely terrifying to me. Let's stop. Let's not train people to get killed. Let's just train robots for that, shall we? Honestly, I just, yeah. I know that this is a very privileged thing to say, but I just don't want people dying in wars. I just don't. I feel like there's got to be better ways of doing this. I mean, as terrifying as and as terrified everyone is of AI and stuff, if it's better at taking out the one person you want instead of bombing an area and killing multiple people, whether they were involved or not, I'm all for that. You know what I mean? Like I just, again, I don't love assassinations, but I feel like warfare is so old-fashioned, and the idea of ground troops and being thrown at problems just doesn't seem like the right. I mean, look, yes, you definitely need people at a certain point. You need people, and you do need boots on the ground, I'm sure. But I just don't think they should be invading. I think they should be, like strategy and organization. I just don't. I don't think we should be putting humans in front of guns or even behind them. And again, I know that is such a difficult thing to get your head around too, because I go like, yeah, and if we hadn't done that, we'd be living in Nazi Canada right now. I know, I understand that. God, I just wish we were a little more Star Trek, don't you? I just wish we were a little better at solving these things. And I know that is a very naive and privileged position to be in, but oh God, it hurts. As I get older, it just hurts. My son is American. He's born in America. I mean, if America brings back the draft, then my son will be drafted, and I think, and that terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me. And may influence where he ends up living. I don't know. I mean, so now what? I'm UK as well. He's if we go and live in Britain and he has a British passport. What am I saying? So there you go. So he could be called up there too. I mean, that's just terrifying to me. I just don't. I mean, I grew up in a very lucky position where this just wasn't. And again, it's also an economic thing too. I mean, people join the army and the navy and stuff, and I so respect any sacrifices and the work that they do. do I want it for my child? No, I don't. My father was in the army, and I talked about joining when I was in my late 20s because what's the best place for technology is the military. The military has the best leading edge technology available. And my father, who's not very good at, he never told me what to do with my life. He would tell me what to do a lot. And he's a very controlling figure in the way that fathers are. And I love him. But I mean, he kicked me out of the house when I was 17. Like he was like, you're not going to school, which means you're a grown up, and grown ups don't live at home, so out you go. And I was out. Like that was done. Done. And I was so angry at first. And you know what? Best thing that ever happened. It took about a year, and I was like, hey, you know what? This is better. This is the way to go. Because I didn't want to be living there either. I mean, so anyways, but the point being, I guess, is that it was the one of, again, as I say, years later, he'd kicked me out. I was living on my own. I've been living on my own for a while and supporting myself. And I was sort of debating a bunch of different things. I wanted to go into motorcycle maintenance. I of course, was obsessed with technology and electronics and stuff. And I thought, wow, what's the best place for that? Well, they're going to train me. They're going to know that stuff. Well, maybe that's what I should do. And my father basically said, please don't. Please don't do that. Please don't join the army. Again, I am in a very fortunate position, in a very privileged position where I was making money as an actor. You know what I mean? I was doing this because that's something I wanted. I was considering it as because it's something I wanted to do. It was a change I wanted to make. I seem to always be trying to get out of acting somehow. But and again, I just, to be very clear, I don't want to. I am by no means belittling or hopefully not taking for granted, the people who have served. But I just wish we didn't have to. And I suppose that's a silly thing to say, but yeah. Anyways, interesting topic. What do we got? So boy, you started me on that one, LOL. So pretty sure there's some other Stargate imagery as well. When is your yard sale? I'm not having a yard sale. What do you want? What are you looking for? What are you looking for, Sir Lewis? You looking for Stargate stuff or something? I'm not going to sell that in a yard sale, trust me. I'm surprised he wasn't sued to oblivion. Who wasn't? What, for using Stargate stuff? Yeah, MGM is terrible at that. May not be a bit of a replicator. I love 3D printing. Mine takes up so much space, though. What do you got, Tina? What, the amount of 3D printing art that you've done, you mean? Very nerdy, but really a builder, so I'm really nervous. But I'll give it a try. Oh, don't. Not really a builder, so I'm really... Yeah, don't be nervous. Like, honestly, look, you can buy a printer and just start doing it. But honestly, if you want to get into it, if that makes sense, it's so rewarding to feel like you built that thing. The other thing I would say is you want to get into 3D printing. If you want a cheap way to get into 3D printing, just download yourself a copy of Blender. Or you can even just start with something like Tinkercad and start doing the design element of it. Because you can do all these create all these wonderful 3D objects. You don't have to print them. You can have them created in Lego. You can have them created. So there's all sorts of options there. And I would say the most overlooked aspect of 3D printing is the design element. 3D design is such an incredible skill. I mean, talk about a skill that kids should have. I mean, that can be used in everything from game design to medicine. I mean, there's almost nothing that doesn't require some kind of 3D simulation or can't be aided and abetted with some kind of a fantastic 3D simulation of some sort. Oh my God! Okay, I've talked for over an hour. This is crazy. I'd watch Mad Mouse. Good. Attica, I'm glad. Well, there you go. If you're really making a film, please crowdfund. I would really love to help, and I'm really sure others are thinking about making the same. LMFAO. Come on, Immortan Joey. Isn't it brilliant? I've got a picture. I'll try to. I'll throw that on social media today. Toronto is post-apocalyptic. Yeah, but that's the idea. Toronto is well, I won't tell you the whole thing because without, as you say, if you need help with the Unreal project, hit me up. Could get some developers on board. Really, Ben Palmer. Interesting. Ben, what is your background? Not getting involved with more personal productivity support mind. Not getting involved with more personal productivity support mind. You're not looking after my personal productivity. Unreal Engine is great. Current UEF 5 update. Yeah, that's what I've been tutorialing through now. I'm planning on trying the animation updates this summer. Tina Newton Art. It's great. I mean, there's a lot it is daunting to look at, but it is amazing. Can I be in your movie? I have some skills. Wormhole 42. What do you got? Is your roof not covered by insurance? That's a really good question. I should ask my wife that. I don't think so. I think it's wear and tear. It's very, very old, and I believe when we had the house inspected, which we didn't actually, the people who owned the house had it inspected and provided us with the inspection, which I thought was really cool. It actually said that all the roofs need to be replaced. So I don't think it'll mature. But that's a really good point. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to skip ahead. If I miss your comment, I'm very, very sorry. But I have got to go. I haven't even drunk my coffee, for God's sake. I got an entire coffee. I haven't drunk because I've been too busy babbling on like the great Stargate Back Bacon that I am. If you want to help out for the time being, before I get all these Kickstarters going that apparently I'm going to be doing, which all sound genius, go to techbandits.org, ORG, check on the shop, grab yourself some merch. It would be amazing. It's lots of fun Stargate-inspired silliness. Literally started because I just couldn't find a good ZPM mug. So please go check that out if you do want to help out. Buy some of that. There is a Patreon as well that is also available on the website. But just go to techbandits.org, sign up for the email, say hello, do all that stuff. That would be fantastic. I don't mean to be too marketing on this, but it looks like this could be my future. So hey, I'm embracing it while I can. And who knows, it could even put a new garage roof over my head. All the best, peeps. I will say, be brave, be kind, be brilliant, and until we geek again, cheerio and huzzah! And then I click the little black button. Bye. See y'all.